important issues related to defense, security, trade, investment, and education. And we welcome Kuwait assuming its seat at the UN Security Council and know that we will value their consultation on a number of important issues that will come before the Security Council. We also want to recognize and thank Kuwait for its contribution to the maximum pressure campaign on North Korea to encourage North Korea to take a different path, to give up its nuclear weapons, and engage in dialogue and discussions with the United States and others to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula. Today's meeting of the 74 members of the Global Coalition to Defeat ISIS, and we were able to announce today it's now 75 members because we welcome the Philippines. This hosting by Kuwait is the kind of leadership that marks Kuwait's efforts throughout this entire campaign. The Global Coalition has made outstanding progress, but the fight is not over. ISIS's so-called caliphate in Iraq and Syria has crumbled, but ISIS remains a very determined enemy and is not yet defeated. We remain committed to destroying ISIS wherever it may be, denying its ability to recruit, move foreign terrorist fighters, transfer funds, and spread their false propaganda across the internet and other social media vehicles. As ISIS has evolved, so has the coalition. The guiding principles that were adopted by the coalition today lay out our vision for the future role of the coalition to continue this fight against ISIS. These principles affirm our common determination to continue our cooperative efforts using all available means until we have achieved the full and enduring defeat of ISIS. The enduring defeat of ISIS in Iraq and Syria means all members of the coalition must support and sustain the post-ISIS stabilization efforts. This means continuing to provide essential aid and services to communities which are only now starting to rebuild. It also includes the presence of effective forces to help secure liberated areas and facilitate the safe return of internally displaced persons. On the Defeat ISIS campaign and other endeavors, Kuwait is one of the United States' most important strategic partners for regional peace and stability, and it's evident through Kuwait's long-term willingness to host multiple U.S. bases and thousands of U.S. troops. Kuwait also has responded to President Trump's speech in Riyadh last year with greater commitments to confront terrorism and violent extremism. Kuwait is also a global humanitarian leader, generously providing critical assistance to refugees throughout the region and to those countries hosting them. In doing so, Kuwait is making critical investments in the stability of this region. The United States looks forward to continued close cooperation between our two countries, and I want to thank the Foreign Minister again for hosting today's activities. Thank you.
The funds that we've announced that we've already committed and the additional monies that we announced today that we are committing are all around stabilization in Iraq and Syria. This is the first step that then provides the conditions for reconstruction. We have to first restore those basic utilities and keep the area safe and secure in order for reconstruction to begin. As to the situation in Afrin, it has detracted from our fight to defeat ISIS in eastern Syria as forces have diverted themselves towards Afrin. We have been in discussions with our NATO ally Turkey. We think it's important that they are mindful of the effects this is having on our principal mission, which is the defeat of ISIS. So I will be traveling to Ankara later in the week. We'll have further discussions with them about how do we continue to work together on the essential mission, which is to defeat ISIS, recognizing, as we all know, there are other terrorist elements operating inside of Syria, including Al-Qaeda, which is a threat to the United States, Nusra Front, and others. So we want to work together to maintain our focus on the essential mission of defeating ISIS. As to our position in Syria, I would just make a couple of observations. The United States and the coalition forces that are working with us to defeat ISIS today control 30% of the Syrian territory and control a large amount of the population and control a large amount of Syria's oil fields. So I think in terms of this observation that the U.S. has little leverage or role to play is simply false. We are very active in the discussions that are moving all of the talks toward Geneva, both in terms of working with the opposition voices to unify them and have them working toward an objective, and we're working very closely with Russia, who has the greatest influence on the Assad regime and can bring Assad and the regime to the negotiating table in Geneva.